Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn, because what just went down on stage makes the Kardashians look like background extras in a toothpaste commercial. Katt Williams, Dave Chappelle, and 50 Cent, three legends who've made careers out of roasting the world raw, just united Voltron style to expose Charlie Kirk in a way so brutal, so unfiltered, that even Twitter had to stop doom-scrolling to watch the carnage. This wasn't just a clapback. This was a full-blown demolition. Katt with his razor-sharp savagery, Dave with his sly, surgical wit, and 50 Cent with the kind of trolling energy that could bankrupt your self-esteem, all teaming up like a roast Avengers squad. And the target? Charlie Kirk, the conservative firebrand who's built his career on controversy and hot takes spicier than Taco Bell's Diablo sauce. When I tell you the internet lost its collective mind, I mean it. Memes flying faster than Elon Musk tweets, fans screaming, "Finally!" like they just got tax refunds, and Charlie himself left looking like he'd walked into the wrong Netflix special. So buckle up, because this isn't just comedy. This is war, and the stage was the battlefield. And trust me, you don't want to miss a single second of this roast session turned cultural earthquake. You know when the universe decides to throw gasoline on a fire just to see what happens? That's exactly what went down when Katt Williams, Dave Chappelle, and 50 Cent decided to make Charlie Kirk their new chew toy. It was like watching a lion, a panther, and a pit bull all pounce on the same prey. And the prey, smiling through his teeth like, maybe if I talk faster, they won't notice I'm cooked. Spoiler alert, they noticed. Let's rewind. Charlie Kirk has made a whole career out of being controversial. This man is basically a human comment section. Loud, polarizing, and allergic to self-awareness. He says wild things about politics, society, and culture, then acts shocked when people clap back. He's like that kid in school who poked everyone with a pencil, then cried when someone finally smacked him. For years, he's been untouchable in his little bubble, throwing grenades into the culture war and ducking when the smoke cleared. But then came the stage, the one place you do not want to be sloppy, when Katt Williams and Dave Chappelle are in the building. It started as a panel. Sounds innocent enough, right? Some big flashy event, lights, cameras, a crowd filled with fans expecting laughs, wisdom, and maybe a little mess. Charlie Kirk thought he was stepping into a space where he could flex his talking points and come out looking like the smart guy. What he didn't realize was that the stage is sacred territory for comedians like Katt and Dave, and when you bring weak arguments into their house, you get roasted into oblivion. Add 50 Cent into the mix, the man who has built his entire social media presence on clowning people harder than your drunk uncle at a cookout. And Charlie Kirk had basically signed up for his own public execution. The first shots came from Katt Williams. And let's be clear, Katt is not your average stand-up. He's a sniper with a microphone. The man could roast you about your shoelaces and make it feel like a TED Talk. So when Charlie started rolling out his usual talking points, Katt leaned into the mic with that sly grin and dropped a one-liner that froze the room. "Charlie, you sound like a YouTube ad nobody asked to skip." The audience erupted. That was the warning shot. Kirk tried to laugh it off, but you could see the beads of sweat forming like his forehead had just joined a sauna membership. Then Dave Chappelle slid in with surgical precision. If Katt is the sniper, Dave is the scalpel. He doesn't just cut, he dissects. With that calm, deliberate voice, he looked at Charlie and said, "The problem with you, Charlie, is you think being loud is the same as being right. But you're just loud, like a fire alarm with no fire." The crowd went wild again. Chappelle has that gift of making a joke sting like a slap while sounding like he's reading scripture. And Charlie? He was already halfway roasted, looking like a marshmallow at a Boy Scout campfire. Enter 50 Cent. And if you know 50, you know he didn't come to play. This is the man who made a career out of trolling Ja Rule, clowned his own son on Instagram, and once bought out the first few rows of a Ja Rule concert just so they'd be empty. Petty isn't just his brand, it's his oxygen. He leaned into his mic, smirked, and said, "Man, Charlie, you out here arguing with legends like you got hits. Where's your album? Where's your show? At least Ja Rule had some bangers before I killed his career." The crowd exploded. Charlie Kirk wasn't just roasted, he was filleted, seasoned, and served on a platter with a side of humiliation. The internet reaction was instant. Clips hit Twitter before the event even ended. Memes popped up faster than Elon Musk tweets. One had Charlie photoshopped in a rotisserie oven with Katt, Dave, and 50 wearing chef hats. Another showed Kirk holding a mic with the caption, "Man thought he was about to debate, but got turned into content." Within hours, Charlie Kirk roasted was trending. Fans who had never even cared about the guy were suddenly invested. Not in his politics, not in his points, but in the comedy massacre unfolding on their timelines. And here's the wildest part. Charlie tried to clap back. Mid-panel, he raised his voice, threw around some of his trademark facts, hoping to regain control. But debating comedians is like trying to fight fire with a water gun filled with hot sauce. Katt hit him with another jab. Facts? Sir, the only facts you got are in your Google search history, and even those don't trust you. Dave followed up with that sly laugh. Charlie, arguing with us is like bringing a PowerPoint to a rap battle. Nobody cares. And 50? He just laughed so hard he nearly fell out of his chair, then turned to the crowd and said, "This man arguing for clout, but we already cashed the check." The audience was in stitches. People were recording, screaming, throwing up emojis in real time. It wasn't a debate anymore. It was a live comedy special at Charlie's expense. Fans called it the triple roast, the holy trinity of shade, the Mount Rushmore of dragging. The memes didn't stop. Someone even made a fake Netflix poster titled Comedy Assassins, the Charlie Kirk Roast, starring Katt, Dave, and 50 in leather jackets with Kirk tied to a chair. It was outrageous, it was cruel, and it was pure internet gold. By the time the panel wrapped, Charlie Kirk looked like he had been through 12 rounds with Mike Tyson in his prime. His smile was plastered on, but his eyes were screaming for an Uber home. Meanwhile, Katt, Dave, and 50 were basking in the chaos, feeding off the energy like wolves who just discovered an all-you-can-eat buffet. It wasn't just a roast, it was a public undressing, and the crowd was there for every second. The fallout was immediate. Twitter timelines lit up with fans praising the trio for finally shutting down Charlie. YouTubers rushed to upload reaction breakdowns, complete with freeze frames and exaggerated commentary. Instagram was filled with reels looping Katt's one-liners and Dave's mic drop quotes. And 50? He was already posting memes about the whole thing before the after-party even started. One caption read, "Charlie Kirk thought he had smoke, but we got the lighter." Classic 50, turning the knife just a little deeper with a grin. What made it so perfect was the chemistry. Katt, Dave, and 50 aren't always in the same rooms, but when they are, it's lethal. Each one has their own style. Katt's wild unpredictability, Dave's calm scalpel, 50's troll energy. But together, they created a storm so strong it could have powered Las Vegas. And Charlie Kirk? He was the unlucky lightning rod. The first reactions weren't just laughter, though. There was also shock. Shock that three titans from comedy and hip-hop united for this tag team demolition. Fans called it historic, saying it felt like watching Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron play on the same team. The clip didn't just go viral. It became cultural currency. People were quoting lines the next day at work, texting memes to their group chats, and uploading TikToks reenacting the roast. This wasn't just a moment. It was an event. And Charlie Kirk? He may have walked off that stage still talking, still smiling, but the internet had already written his obituary in meme form. The man who thrived on controversy suddenly became the controversy, roasted into history by three icons who didn't even break a sweat. The second those clips of Katt Williams, Dave Chappelle, and 50 Cent roasting Charlie Kirk hit the internet, the timeline went into a meltdown so nuclear it made Chernobyl look like a campfire. You could almost hear millions of keyboards slamming as Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram turned the roast into a 24-hour festival of memes, hot takes, and digital fireworks. Hot takes and digital fireworks. Charlie Kirk thought he was stepping into a debate. Instead, he got drafted as the main character of the day. And you know, the internet only gives that title to people it's ready to destroy. Let's start with the memes, because honestly, they deserve their own museum exhibit. Within minutes, people had edited Charlie into a KFC bucket with extra crispy stamped across it. Another viral edit had him photoshopped into the "This is fine" dog cartoon, sitting in a burning room with Katt, Dave, and 50 holding flamethrowers. Someone even animated him as a roast chicken spinning on a rotisserie while the trio sat at a table with bibs and forks. Cruel? Absolutely. Funny? Too funny. The creativity was so wild that even people who didn't know who Charlie Kirk was were laughing, reposting, and asking, "Okay, but why is this man getting cooked like a holiday turkey?" TikTok jumped in with the speed of a caffeine overdose. Clips of the roast were remixed into trending audios, with people lip-syncing Katt's line about Charlie sounding like a YouTube ad nobody wanted to skip. Others reenacted Chappelle's calm, surgical takedown about being loud without being right, staging skits where they roasted their friends in the same style. And then came the dances. Yes, people were actually dancing to 50 Cent's petty little laugh like it was the new TikTok anthem. When 50's laugh becomes a soundbite, you know it's over, but the memes and edits were just the appetizer. The celebrity peanut gallery had to get their licks in, and boy did they deliver. Comedians who weren't even in the building started tweeting about it. Kevin Hart posted a crying laughing emoji thread with the caption, "Charlie Kirk really thought he was ready for Katt and Dave?" Tiffany Haddish chimed in saying, "Imagine debating Chappelle. That's like bringing Uno cards to a chess game." Even non-comedians got involved. Snoop Dogg reposted a clip on Instagram, added his own giggle, and wrote, "50 been petty since '03. And I'm here for it." The roast had gone beyond a panel. It had become a cultural moment, a cross-genre event where comedy, hip-hop, and social commentary fused into one glorious demolition. And then came the fans. Not just casual fans, but diehard stans who turned the roast into religion. One person tweeted, "This was bigger than the Super Bowl." Another, "We need an annual comedy roast Olympics. Katt, Dave, and 50 as captains." Hashtags like non-Katt cooked Charlie and Dave dragged him started trending. Twitter's trending page looked like the aftermath of a rap battle, with Charlie Kirk's name sitting under roast-related hashtags like a tombstone. Charlie himself tried to clap back online. And this is where things went from bad to catastrophic. Instead of laughing it off or going silent, he tweeted, "Comedy is dead when it becomes an echo chamber." Bro. That one tweet opened the floodgates. Screenshots went viral with captions like, "No, comedy isn't dead. You just got killed on stage." Others mocked him for playing victim, saying, "Charlie Kirk out here tweeting like a SoundCloud rapper after a diss track." 50 Cent didn't let it slide either. He reposted Charlie's tweet on Instagram with the caption, "Comedy ain't dead, just your career. LOL." And just like that, the dragging entered its second life cycle. Even politicians got in on the fun. A few progressive voices tweeted memes, slyly celebrating Charlie's embarrassment. But the real twist came when even some conservatives threw shade, joking that Charlie walked into a lion's den and forgot his Bible. Ouch. When your own camp is laughing at you, that's not just a loss, that's a massacre. Meanwhile, YouTube was flooded with breakdowns. Reaction channels paused every frame, analyzing Charlie's facial expressions like it was the Zapruder film. Look here at the 3:12 mark. You can see him realizing he's losing. Others turned it into 30-minute essays on free speech, cancel culture, and comedy's role in politics. But let's be real, nobody clicked for the analysis. They clicked to relive the roast and laugh all over again. One breakdown even titled itself, "Charlie Kirk's Funeral, roasted by Katt, Dave, and 50. Subtlety? Dead. And the thing is, the internet loves a good roast because it's blood sport entertainment. People don't log on for nuance or facts. They log on to watch someone get humiliated, especially when it's someone as polarizing as Charlie Kirk. For years, he's made headlines saying outlandish things, sparking outrage and reveling in the attention. But this time, he wasn't in control. He wasn't the one throwing grenades. He was the one catching them. And the audience, they loved every second. It was like watching the school bully finally get pantsed in front of the cafeteria. The memes only got crueler as the night went on. People dug up old photos of Charlie, editing him into scenes where he was always the loser. In one viral edit, he was sitting at the red table with Jada Pinkett Smith, looking like he was about to cry. In another, he was photoshopped into a boxing match, laying flat on the mat with Katt, Dave, and 50 raising their arms in victory. TikTokers added sound effects, frying pans sizzling, fire crackling, to the clips of his face while he got roasted. The creativity was boundless and the humiliation endless. But let's not pretend it was all fun and games. For Charlie, the backlash was brutal. His mentions turned into a digital war zone. Every post he made got hijacked with roast jokes. He could post about puppies, and someone would comment, "These dogs bark louder than you debate." He could post about his morning coffee, and someone would reply, "Did Katt roast that too?" The man lost all control of his own narrative. Because the internet crowned him the loser of the week, and that crown doesn't come off easy. And here's the real kicker. This wasn't just a one-night viral moment. This was cultural synergy. Comedy fans, hip-hop stans, political junkies, and casual scrollers all united in one glorious roast session. For once, everybody agreed. Charlie Kirk got cooked beyond recognition. The rarest thing on the internet happened: unity. The last time people came together this fast was when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and even then, the debate lasted longer. With Charlie, there was no debate. Everyone knew he lost. everyone knew he got exposed. Everyone knew he was done. Katt, Dave, and 50 each walked away looking untouchable. Katt reminded everyone why he's the undisputed king of savage comedy. Dave showed why his slow, deliberate delivery can destroy faster than a machine gun. And 50? He proved once again that trolling is his art form, and humiliation his masterpiece. Together, they didn't just roast Charlie, they etched the roast into internet history. By the end of the week, Charlie Kirk had become less of a political figure and more of a meme character. He wasn't Charlie Kirk anymore. He was Roast Chicken Charlie, Meme Kirk, that guy who thought he could debate comedians. And that's the kind of rebrand you don't come back from. After the smoke cleared, the lights dimmed, and the last meme left Twitter trending. The Charlie Kirk roast wasn't just a moment, it was an earthquake. The kind of cultural shockwave that rattles reputations, rewrites narratives, and cements itself in history as one of those remember where you were when it happened events. Because let's be real, when Katt Williams, Dave Chappelle, and 50 Cent team up to roast you into ashes, you don't just walk away. You crawl out of the rubble, wondering if your career is still breathing. Spoiler alert, it's not. Let's talk about aftermath, because oh boy, this fallout had layers. First, Charlie Kirk himself, the man who built his brand on being loud, defiant, and unshakable, suddenly found himself reduced to a punchline. Every time he tried to regain footing, the internet dragged him back into the flames. His next podcast episode? Flooded with comments saying, Katt already ended this episode. His Instagram posts? Hijacked by people spamming roast chicken emojis. Even on TikTok, where he tried to do serious videos about politics, people just cut him off mid-sentence with clips of 50 laughing. Imagine trying to drop your hot takes, and the entire internet responds with a laugh track. That's not commentary. That's humiliation on a global stage. And here's the thing, once the internet brands you, it sticks harder than a Drake chorus in summer. Tekashi is still the snitch. Gunna is still suspect. And now Charlie Kirk is officially the guy who got cooked by comedians. That's his legacy. No matter how many speeches he gives, no matter how many interviews he books, no matter how many podcasts he hosts, people will always remember that night when three legends took turns turning him into comedic confetti. But it wasn't just Charlie who felt the aftershocks. The roast elevated Katt, Dave, and 50 into another stratosphere of cultural dominance. Katt Williams reminded everyone why he's a one-man comedy army, capable of dismantling someone with a single sentence sharper than a Ginzu knife. Dave Chappelle proved yet again that comedy can be both funny and fatal, a slow burn that hits harder than a heavyweight punch. And 50 Cent? He walked away as the undisputed troll king, the petty godfather who doesn't just win beefs, he marinates them, seasons them, and serves them cold. Their combined energy turned a panel into a demolition derby, and fans couldn't stop replaying it like it was the new Kendrick album. Replaying it like it was the new Kendrick album. The cultural impact was undeniable. Suddenly, comedy podcasts, hip-hop blogs, and political talk shows were all dissecting the roast like it was the Zapruder film. Was this the death of Charlie Kirk's credibility? Was it proof that comedy is still the last frontier where truth can't be silenced? Or was it simply three icons flexing their dominance because they could? Everyone had a take, but all roads led back to the same conclusion. Charlie Kirk got cooked, period, and the consequences stretched far beyond the memes. Bookers, sponsors, and networks suddenly saw him as damaged goods. Nobody wants to platform the guy who's the internet's latest chew toy. Even some of his own supporters side-eyed him, admitting privately that he'd embarrassed himself. It's one thing to be polarizing, it's another to be laughable. In politics, controversy can keep you alive, but humiliation? That's career cancer. Meanwhile, the streets, and by streets, I mean the internet streets, crowned the roast a cultural victory. Fans called it the Comedy Avengers assembling. Others said it was bigger than the Will Smith slap. Some even joked that Netflix should drop it as a special titled The Roast of Charlie Kirk. Sponsored by Karma. That's how legendary this became. It wasn't just about Charlie anymore. It was about the culture's collective joy in watching three legends dismantle someone who'd made a career out of antagonizing. But here's the darker side. Charlie's humiliation didn't just stay online. It seeped into every corner of his public life. At events, hecklers started yelling Katt Williams quotes at him. During speeches, people held up signs with 50's laugh transcribed on them. Ha 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 ha. Even his Q&A sessions turned into comedy shows, with people asking, "Hey Charlie, you got any new material? Or are you still recycling old takes like you did on stage?" The man couldn't escape. He became a walking meme, trapped in a joke that never stopped playing. And let's not forget the ripple effects on comedy and hip-hop. This roast reignited the cultural power of the clapback. It reminded everyone that no matter how much money, influence, or clout you think you have, you're never safe from the mic. Comedy remains the one place where truth slips out dressed as a punchline, and hip-hop remains the one culture where roasting is sport, survival, and spectacle all at once. Put those two worlds together, and you get an event that can topple reputations overnight. Fans are already begging for more. We need Katt, Dave, and 50 to do a tour together, one user tweeted. Forget Marvel, this is the real crossover event. Others suggested an annual event where comedians and rappers team up to roast political figures. The internet turned it into a franchise before the echoes of laughter even faded. That's how much people loved seeing Charlie Kirk get dismantled. They wanted sequels, spin-offs, and reruns. But what's next? That's the cliffhanger hanging over this whole mess. Charlie Kirk can try to spin it, try to downplay it, maybe even try to fight back. But every time he speaks, the internet will hear Katt's one-liner, Dave's mic drop, and 50's petty laugh. Every attempt at recovery will be haunted by that stage, that night, that humiliation. He may keep his career alive, but his credibility? Burned to ashes. Meanwhile, the trio walks away stronger than ever. Katt Williams leaves with the internet bowing to his savagery. Dave Chappelle leaves with his legend status double cemented. And 50 Cent? He leaves with more memes to post than a petty king should legally have access to. They won the battle, they won the war, and they left Charlie Kirk as nothing more than roadkill on the cultural highway. The aftermath is clear. This wasn't just a roast, it was a reckoning. It was comedy, hip-hop, and pettiness joining forces to prove that no one is safe when the mic is hot. Charlie Kirk will forever be the guy who got cooked, and Katt, Dave, and 50 will forever be the kings who did it. The culture crowned them, the internet immortalized them, and history won't forget them. And if you think this is the last time the stage will claim a victim, think again. The next roast, the next scandal, the next cultural takedown, it's already brewing. Because in comedy and hip-hop, the mic never sleeps. And there you have it, folks. The night Charlie Kirk thought he was stepping into a debate and instead stumbled into his own roast session funeral. Katt Williams, Dave Chappelle, and 50 Cent didn't just roast him. They tag-teamed him like WWE legends, left him flat on the mat, and then sold tickets to the replay. The man went in with talking points and came out as a trending hashtag. Brutal, iconic, unforgettable, but don't just sit there giggling in the shadows. Be part of the chaos. Smash that like button like you're 50 Cent buying out J-Rule's concert seats. Hit subscribe harder than Katt Williams hitting a one-liner, and for the love of petty history, turn on those notifications, because this ain't the last scandal, not by a long shot. Around here, legends roasting frauds is just Tuesday. Now it's your turn. Light up the comments like a Chappelle punchline. Did Charlie Kirk just experience the roast of the century, or was this just the warm-up? Should Katt, Dave, and 50 take this show on the road and sell out arenas just cooking people alive? And most importantly, who should they roast next? Drop your pics, your memes, your conspiracy theories. Let's turn the comments into the real after party. Because here at Scandal Spark, we don't just cover drama. We magnify it, exaggerate it, and serve it up so messy you'll need oven mitts to hold the tea. Scandals don't sleep, and neither do we. I'm out. This is Scandal Spark, where egos get torched, receipts get weaponized, and reputations get cooked extra crispy. Get cooked extra crispy.